This episode of the Amp Hour is brought to you by electronicssurplus.com. From vacuum tubes to semiconductors, Electronics Surplus offers a huge selection of current and legacy products that integrate into your next design. Electronics Surplus also specializes in hard-to-find replacement components and off-the-wall parts you can't find anywhere else, all offered at some of the lowest prices on the internet. To learn more about Electronics Surplus and to support the show, go to theamphour.com/ES and you'll be whisked away to an online marketplace of weird and wonderful things. This is the Amp Hour Podcast, recorded January 28th, 2013. Episode 130, Awful Airplane Aeration.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Chris Gamble's Analog Life.
Hey Chris, it's just us again.
Yep, back to us. The dynamic duo.
After our big guest last week.
Yeah, that was a good interview.
We are still trying to alternate, aren't we? We're still trying to do the alternating thing.
Yeah. It's been working out okay.
Oscillating pattern of, yeah.
Got a
like it.
Couple more guests lined up out there. And actually people have been adding to the list of... we have a guest suggestion page, and people have been nice enough to be adding stuff to that. So if people want to... If you look on... Don't add stuff if you already see them on there. But, yeah, there's probably people that aren't on that list that you might want to add. So it's pretty easy to do.
And we'll try and get, the President of the United States or the WAS, which, of course, is more important.
Yeah.
Yeah, or someone like that. Yeah, so put the name on there, and we'll just get them using our vast...
Right, networking abilities.
Power of, networking.
Well, I do have a Twitter account,
Yeah, woohoo.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty important.
Oh, boy. Okay, we've got some news. That's the Amp Hour teletype there.
Yeah.
Breaking news coming in. Well, it's not breaking. It's a week old. We've got a week lag here on the show, so it's pretty lame. But anyway, we treat it as just coming through. National Instruments acquired Digilent.
Yeah. Yay. Yeah. I guess. I don't know.
Does anyone care? I mean, would Digilent big enough for anyone to care?
Yeah, they were the ones that did that analog discovery kit, aren't they? The ones that did that with
yes,
ADI?
which I've still got in my mailbag unopened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that was a good, I think, because they've been teeing up for a long time, I think. There's been various, national, I think some of the Digilent stuff have had National Instruments drivers or something like that. I don't know. I could be talking out my ass. But, yeah, it's, it's a natural fit, I guess.
Yeah, well...
Because National Instruments are into all that sort of educational, stuff and development stuff. And, well...
Yeah. Well, it's nice because, I mean, NI kind of has they have a lot of, quick start kind of stuff, so you can, maybe not quick. I mean, you have to install a lot of drivers and stuff, but, they're friendly.
But it's still,
it's friendly stuff. Yeah. So that's nice for getting people started. I know they have that My DAC, the data acquisition system. That's okay. It's, But
it's great. I mean, it works, you pay an arm and a leg for it, but...
Yeah, that's the part I don't like.
That's the idea, right? You pay an arm and a leg, and it works, and they support it, and they support it for a long time, and, heck, I was still using National Instruments boards on, Windows 3.1.
Oh, yeah?
3.11, right? And they still supported...
Wow.
They'd still sell you the boards and stuff for a lot, for more than a decade. It was fantastic.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
And yeah, but you pay for it, right? That's the sort of thing you pay for.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. That's the hope. Is that there's two things. There's one that it doesn't. I don't think they would, but that they wouldn't mandate that you have to use NI. But I think if anything they'd use it as a sales tool to be like, and here you can talk to with NI stuff, instead of you must use it, right?
Of course. No.
But then just the other thing is working with other people. But I think NI already works with analog devices and a couple other people anyways.
Oh, they work with a whole bunch of companies, yeah.
Because I think the ADI Spice Simulator is it theirs or maybe it's I think it is theirs. I think it's actually based on the NI Spice engine. I've only used it once.
Right. I don't know. I've never used it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's surprising. Like all of the, a lot of the big companies have their own spice engine. Like TI has Tina, Tina, and then ADI has this one that's I think the joint venture with National Instruments. Linear Tech obviously has LT Spice.
Yep.
I guess National used to have WebBench. I wouldn't really call that Spice, but now they're TI.
Right.
Rest in peace, National Instruments. Consolidation.
Well, I've always hoped that National Instruments would buy Altium.
Oh yeah.
Because they do have like a PCB schematic tool with that simulation. They've bought various I can't remember the name.
Yeah.
Multisim or something they bought, something like that.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. That's the one that the ADI worked with, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and they bought all that, and well, it's just like aimed at like the education market, and they're like, I don't see the point of that. Oh, look, here's a nice PCB schematic tool for education. Yeah, great, but well, you're just going to ditch it when you go into the real world, right?
Here's another thing that'll set you back as an academic when you're getting into the working world.
Let's
what
learn
do you mean
Pascal,
we don't simulate
folks?
everything? Oh, that's too bad.
And we'll do all our programming in Pascal.
Yeah, in MATLAB. I know. Nobody's sick any dogs on me. I know people use MATLAB and everything else, and
oh, that's huge. No, MATLAB's huge in the industry. What are you talking about?
I know. But I don't know. I see that as
I don't use it, but
it's like,
huge.
but like you see it as a programming language, right? It is a programming language, but it's like you're not going to be programming micros with it, or maybe you are, and I'm going to be told off.
No, it's
at some later date,
it's high level stuff.
Right.
The thing with MATLAB is that they have a library for everything, right?
Yes.
So if you want to do a fast Fourier transform, you just go FFT, like you just call up the library and just use it, right? Bang, done.
I think
the idea.
I think the real
MATLAB.
thing is people that are doing MATLAB stuff are so far out of my sphere of knowledge. They're just like in the stratosphere, and I'm just like, hey, I flip bits sometimes.
It does have that. It does have that smell of academia to it,
Well, yeah. It's just like you said. It's high level, right? I mean, it's very cerebral, and you're doing huge data sets, right? It's like big data type stuff. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's analyzing big data.
Yeah, it's very important for certain things, but nothing I've touched in a very long time. So
exactly,
I'm,
and it's a bit before
inadequate.
my time. We never really used MATLAB. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and since I don't have a license now, I just use Octave, or there's another one out there that's like a freer version, but then those are kind of crippled as well.
Oh, okay.
You've used Octave before?
Never even heard of it.
Oh yeah, it's like an I don't think it's open source, but it's like a free version of a mathematics type program. It might be open source.
Oh,
I'll have to look into that.
Right.
But yeah, it's good stuff. If you need it, it's there.
I've always sort of like rolled my own. I've either rolled my own in like Visual Basic, or I've rolled it in Lab Windows CVI, which is a National Instruments thing, or something like that. So
just like heavy duty math operations.
Yeah, if I need to do FFTs or do something, very control algorithms, all sorts of things. I just sort of rolled my own over the years. I'm sure it's technically much easier in MATLAB or something. If you're a MATLAB script kiddie, then I'm sure it's real easy. No, it's just something I've never really used. I've always used different tools. Whereas I'm sure that everyone studying in the last 10 years would have used MATLAB.
Right. Well, or
I'm
Python or other high level stuff like that.
Or something other high level stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. You ever looked at Project Euler? Is it Euler? It's Euler, right? I always say Euler, but that's
never
not right.
Never heard of that one either.
EULER. It's like it's supposed to be like
Euler. Yeah.
I thought it's Euler. Euler.
I thought it was Euler.
We'll let Wikipedia decide that later.
Here's this pronunciation thing.
Yeah.
All the people will come out of the woodwork now. This is how you pronounce it because it says so on Wikipedia.
But yeah, that's a cool thing too. Like if you're bored on a Saturday and you want to do some math.
Woohoo!
It's good. No, it is really good though. Like if people don't know, it's a way that you can. There's like a bunch of problems that are increasing in difficulty, and basically you can use programming to solve these problems. That's the idea, is to practice programming for these math problems, and like they've been solved by lots and lots of people. Like the number one problem there has been solved by 266,000 people. So
Right.
I'm making fun of people, but obviously I'm, very alone in that, right? Mostly I'm making fun of myself because I can't do it.
Upload your solution. Is that how it works?
I don't know.
I think you might pose a question and people.
No. So there's set questions. Right now they're up in the 400s. Okay. And they're like it's kind of like brain teasers, but they're like math brain teasers, kind of.
Right.
So how do you? Here's an example. What is the 10,001st prime number? Right, and you could write all that out.
Right.
Or you could do it programmatically and then calculate primes and get to the 10,000.
And there's 1,000 math nerds out there who all think they've got the best algorithm for doing that.
Yeah,
right?
well, that's a good way to say it. It's like algorithm practice.
Right.
Practice is important. So if you're a math person or a programming person, it's a good site for that kind of thing, which I am not.
I've kind of been a bit into that over the years, but
you said you had your software. You had your software things going on.
Yeah, I had my software phase where a friend and I we'd just be competing about who can write the tightest, fastest algorithm, and to do something, and it was fun back in the day.
Yeah, I kind of missed out on that whole thing. Not that I couldn't have done it. It's just a timing thing, I guess, or laziness or whatever it was.
Well, this is all part of the, I'm talking late 80s here, right? So I'm talking, the microcomputer revolution and
build your own 6502
right?
and then write assembly for it, right?
Exactly, and back when it was just cool to work on that, and that sucked a lot of people away from electronics, right? Like me, it sucked me away from electronics for many years. I was, working on computer stuff and programming and all that sort of stuff because it was the latest.
Yeah. But
cool fad.
At that point, I mean, that's pretty close to the metal still, I think. I mean, if you get someone programming assembly these days, you say they're bare metal programming, right? It's like...
it's exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's...
And sometimes you'd have to go down to the assembly, we're writing at the assembly level to get the tightest, fastest algorithm, right?
Yeah.
All that sort of jazz. And and then you start getting ideas for what you can program. Oh, I've got an idea for a game. I'll program that. And you'd spend a couple of months writing a game.
Yeah. Well, I do remember. I do remember programming in BASIC. I did that in the computer I had in my room.
Right. Yep.
Oy, I don't miss that.
No.
Yeah.
Pascal was one of my favorite languages back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never got into Pascal.
And, Power Basic. Quick Basic 4.5.
Some people must be...
Basic PDS 7.1, if anyone remembers that. Oh, that was the best.
So some people must be like
nostalgic
for that, right? I mean, I guess there's...
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I guess people are still building 6502s. And of course, this is all
pre-internet, right? So we...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're still doing it for fun, but now everyone's working on their Arduino,
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, people are making their
but
boards
back then you didn't have the distractions you do these days with the internet, right? There's so much going on. Oh, there's a new fad every week, right?
That's true.
Whereas back then it was, I mean, you just look every time I check out the internet here. Oh, there's this new thing, Oh, that'd be fun to work on. If only I had time, so I don't end up having any time to work on anything because I'm too busy, finding new things to work on.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Hate the internet.
Oh yeah, it pulls you in every direction, right?
It does.
Yeah.
I know.
I can't
focus on anything.
I was listening to an interview with Seth Godin, that marketing guru guy, and he's like, you think a marketing guy would be like online all the time. He's like, no, I just ignore Twitter. I ignore Facebook. And basically he's like, I just kind of go and do stuff. And I was like, right. That hurts. There you go. That stings.
I know. Yeah, ouch. Because we aren't smart enough to do that, right? We just get sucked into
There's so many shiny things on Twitter. I mean, honestly, that's how I find links for the show. And it's like, I want to keep in touch with things. But I find out about things that are cool, right? So I want to talk about this thing this week. There is a new startup, which I found out later is a Y Combinator sponsored startup. Y Combinator being one of the I think I mentioned it last week. Actually, it's like a incubator out in Silicon Valley.
Right.
But it allows you to. So it's called Circuit Hub, and it allows you to search out footprints, and then it uses Dropbox to sync with your folder structure and your computer. So it uses like the native thing that your CAD program is already using. And when I saw that, at first I'm like, oh, footprint program, okay, and then I saw Dropbox, and I'm like, oh my god.
Right, they've integrated it with Dropbox.
Yeah, so they have like I think they're working with Altium, Cadence, and Eagle right now.
I'll say up front, there's a grand total of 158 parts on there. Okay?
Right. Well, this is it's a critical mass problem, right?
Right, and that's spread across all the packages, right?
Yeah. You're not. Yeah, so, if you see one, like if you see this BSS 84 from Fairchild, it only has footprints. It has the data sheet, but it doesn't. It only has footprints from. I don't even know which ones. Let's see.
Right.
Footprints, no footprints. Yeah, so this...
But it looks like pretty... Have you actually used it? Have you actually connected using your Dropbox account?
Yes, I have. And I've pulled
okay.
I've pulled
Is it easy?
Oh, yeah, it's super easy. It's like, it's not even like...
Right.
Some of them are like where you're, okay, collect them all up and then hit them all at once. Like, there was another one on the list from a couple weeks ago, actually, that someone had built. One of our listeners actually built, which was pretty cool. It was KiCad. It was KiCad based. And it was like that, where it's like you have collect them all up, and then you say download all at once in a zip file, right? This is like that, except it's just instant. It just zips it right, or just sends it right to your Dropbox file. So
right,
and
then you can work on that file live.
Exactly. Right.
But then what happens if somebody changes that part?
Yes, that's a good question. So it's not like a living
Is that
copy.
even possible after it's been updated? Can you?
No.
Yeah, but if you're using the library directly from your Dropbox, No,
it's like a pull. So it's like every time. So the very first time. So you find a 2N3904 footprint, right? And you pull that once, it'll sit in your library forever. Now I'm not sure about how it looks, how it does like comparisons against existing stuff, and it shows up updates and stuff like that. But yeah, it's
got it.
Yeah, so for right now though,
and you only connect it to your public Dropbox account, right?
Exactly.
Your
So what you would do is like an Eagle or an Altium, you would actually set that as a secondary folder, right? You'd have a main folder for your parts. Actually, I don't know how Altium works. I haven't used it in a while, but you'd set this as a secondary folder, and then it would pull in from there. So
right,
you might not use it for all your stuff at first, but I think eventually I could see it as this thing gets populated. I mean, like if you look at how, so I've been talking to Andrew, the guy one of the guys that started this, and it's just like really strong back end. It's just like really. I was actually talking to him. He's an embedded guy, and then he started like web programming, and so like he actually knows about electronics,
right?
Which was like whoa, because usually people go the other direction, right? Usually they're programming, they're like, I want to do hardware. And now he's doing really high-level software stuff, like this fancy UI stuff, whereas he used to do electronics for a long time. So he actually knows what he wanted. So yeah, that's a good thing. So I'm a very big fan of this so far.
All right.
The only thing I don't
might give it a try.
And I've told him many times over, is that there's no KiCad support, but apparently that's on its way. So,
right.
Because the nice thing about that too is you get automatic libraries because of stuff that's already out there. I guess right. Altium and Eagle and OrCAD.
Can you just like subscribe to like the Altium part of it, because like there's no point looking at any other parts in some other system, right? You if you're using Altium or you're using KiCad, that's all you care about.
Right, exactly.
Is there a way to just filter out everything else and say I use,
No, I haven't used it.
I use Altium
yet.
And that's it. Bugger off. Everyone else, I don't want to see a single footprint that's for some other package.
I don't know.
Because at the moment, like it just tells me there's all these parts here, and it doesn't even tell me what package they're for, and I can't see any way to subcategorize into the packages.
Yeah.
The software packages. So, Anyway.
Yes, indeed.
I do like the concept of integrating with Dropbox, though.
I think
that's good.
Yeah, I think that was one of those little lights popping on. That's the thing I liked about it because, oh crap,
otherwise it would have been yawn worthy, right?
Right, yeah, because there's another one out there that's like a library manager. I forget what it's someone else.
I'm sure there's quite a few.
Yeah, but it was like a
quite a few out
subscription
there that-
base, and it was like updated.
Right,
but
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
these
yeah.
big chunk updates, right? And there's something to be said for
Right.
that too, right? Because then I'm at Rev A, now I go to Rev B, and all the parts can potentially
of course,
be different.
and bang, I've got all the latest ones.
So there needs to be like you need to be careful with that kind of thing, right? Because you don't want to get sniped by someone updating you pulling apart, assuming it's the same, and then like some pins flopped, right? And then
yeah,
and then
exactly.
you're driving current. You're driving your your op amp output into ground or something.
Yep.
But I just think I think it's cool. I think I don't know why. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Of course, I say that.
Right.
I say that a lot. So.
Okay.
Because I don't think of much.
Right. Oh boy. There you go. All right. Well, I'll give that one a try.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Speaking of impractical ideas, I don't even have to look at this one.
Okay. Oh, that one.
Well, kind of impractical idea, because some of them are impractical.
Oh, how
right?
about
Some
speaking of startups
PCB
too, right?
footprint.
So Circuit Hub is a startup.
Yeah, speaking of startups and impracticality, you put this one on here.
Right.
It's called founderdating.com. and
I have not
it's
tried this yet.
probably exactly what you think.
I have not tried this yet.
Right.
No, when
Does that mean you're going to try it?
I've thought about it. I don't know. I saw this because someone
yes,
posted
it's
it. They said, "Oh, well, we have 50%
right,
engineers,
okay.
right?" Which is, I think, with like
Right.
founder dating and talking about startups, that's like the equivalent of saying, we have women on our dating site, like, free for women to register, but if you're an MBA, you have to pay.
Right. And it's exactly what you think,
Yeah.
right? They try and match. Yeah, they try and match you up with other. Is there any matching algorithm in this thing? Like, what are the search criteria?
No, I
haven't
think it's
even
like
used...
you go out, you search for your
Right.
own, you.
Right.
It's like a dating site, like a Match.com.
It's like a dating site, except the idea is you're trying to find a partner for a business.
Right. Hopefully, you're
Or
not
your
looking for
startup,
anyone to screw
right?
over, right?
Right.
Bazinga!
High quality. Everyone is screened by
yeah,
knowledgeable,
exactly.
experienced managing directors.
Right. Well, and I'm sure
Come on,
some of it's gonna be tough, right? It's like if you're in like the middle of Kansas, right, or in the middle of Wyoming, and you're like looking for someone local.
Yeah, you're pretty desperate,
Yeah.
right? So
Meet local singles online. Meet local founders online.
we'll take anyone with a pulse.
Yeah, right. No, but I was having it out with Dave before the show because I'm like, Dave's like, oh, this is total BS. And I'm like, Dave, you're the king of online dating, right? You have that book for
I am.
online nerd dating
Yes,
or whatever.
I've written a book. I've written the biggest. Yes,
I think
I've written the world's #1 read book on internet dating.
I think you could very easily turn that around and just change it from, just change it to, how for nerds to date online or whatever it was to how to find founders online.
Yep. Well,
I'm sure many of the same things apply, Start slow, get coffee
yes,
first,
they do.
right?
no,
Meet
it all
in a
starts
public
with
place.
the search. You don't waste your time on people who have obvious things that you don't like, or stuff like that.
Or crappy profile pictures.
This person looks hot, but they smoke. I don't like smokers, but I'll meet them anyway. It's like, no, don't waste your time. Right?
Oh, I think I could giggle about this for like 20 minutes. It's just like,
I know.
it's just so it is silly to think of it, but I think at the core of it, it's an interesting idea because you could potentially, if you're in the market, right? Say you're looking, maybe you're looking for work, or maybe you're just bored with your job. Like maybe this could, maybe you're in a relationship you don't like currently, and you're trying to get out of that LLC
Right.
you got stuck in, right? But I mean, so it could work. But I think I personally, I don't know what works for founders, right? I mean, you look at like historically, like what Jobs and Woz, right? They were just like hacker friends, right? I mean, there's no formula to it, you need chemistry
exactly.
with founders,
Yep.
but it just as easily could be that if you meet someone that you really like, like that you click with as a friend, that could be really bad for a founder relationship, right? If you're trying to start a startup, if you're not able to be frank with the other person because you're trying to be nice to them, it's like, man, that's not going to work. You have to be able to Get in arguments, you know? That's what I look for on dating sites, is people to argue with.
and you meet up and you talk about all your bad experiences, all your previous dates.
Yeah. Then I went to this one startup, and that guy was a total jerk.
Man, and he had green hair, and he... I couldn't believe it.
I know. But I mean, startups are. I mean, especially for hardware, right? I mean, I've seen. So Nick Pinkston is a guy that runs the hardware startup subreddit, and he also does software, or he does startup meetups, right? There's hardware meetups. There's one in Austin now. There's one in San Francisco. I think there's one in Chicago, maybe, but there's like more starting up all over the place where people actually, they have startups, they get together, they drink beers, and they kind of just they do like rapid fire talks, and if you're in those locations, it's kind of cool. I'd love to go to one, but I don't think Cleveland's going to have one anytime soon. Well,
it's the same thing with this. Same thing with Meetup.com, right? If you've ever used that, if you've been to one of those, they get people together at these, and there's tons of them that get all, they get entrepreneurs together, so it's a local entrepreneurs meetup group, and you meet with them. And I've been to one of them. Oh my God, I regretted that.
Be careful there, buddy. They might be listening. They might know where you live.
No, it was like. No, it was okay. I didn't regret going, right? Because I wanted to find out what it was like. No, it wasn't.
Was it a networking event? Is that the problem? Was that the?
It was a network. Yeah, it was a networking event.
Yeah.
Right. It's one of local entrepreneurs, right? And it was just around the corner. So I thought, okay, I'll go. Maybe I'll meet some interesting people or something like that. And I did. Yeah. Right. So it was fine from that aspect. Right. So I guess regret is the bad.
No, I know what you mean. Though it's like networking events. The people that go to networking events are often people looking for like the people that you really want to talk to don't go to networking events, right? Because they're so busy doing stuff. I mean, it's just a reality.
Yeah, that's right.
And because I thought about going to before, and it's like, well, who am I going to? I mean, but the thing is, you still make good connections because you might meet someone who's on the verge of doing something cool, right? Or you could work with them.
That's right. That's the idea.
Yeah, and that's what you have to expect, because you can't go there and make these, like these very what's it called, like. Not false connections. What am I trying to say? Superficial connections, right? It's like, oh, well, what's your job like? And very superficial. You have to make actual connections with people in order to work with them. So, which might also be the downfall of a founder dating site, right? It's like if you're just going based on criteria like that, you might have to go through a lot of people to see if you actually want to work together, and it's not like a one-sided relationship.
Oh, you could spend all your time looking for people instead of actually doing something.
Right.
And then usually these days, if you're doing something, people will approach you.
Right.
You put it out there, what you're doing, and they'll go, oh,
exactly.
I know how to do that. I think you can help this out. I think we should team up.
Right. Especially if you're building community, right?
It's very hit and miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like part of DIY drones community or, Arduino community, like there are other people out there. If you're talking about it already, as long as you're not trying to be super secretive, then of course you're going to find people that, want to do the same kind of thing. And maybe then you say, okay, let's try this together.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's the way it works in the best case scenario, because you just have common interests and goals, and then you kind of work from there.
Yeah, the problem with the one I went to was that the guy who ran it was, one of these, he loves giving talks about how to be an entrepreneur.
Oh.
It's all he talked about. Oh, I just came back from my 6-month trip around the world because I'm, I follow all my own business practices, and wouldn't you love to live a wonderful lifestyle like I do?
Know,
just facepalm,
right. I think I've heard the term wantrepreneurs. I think that's the term.
Oh, right, okay.
That's a good term. I like that term.
And, just because, yes, he did happen to set up a company that was actually his dad's company, which he inherited, and he made some money from it, and now he tries to make money by telling you how to make money.
That's rough.
And it's like, nah.
Right. That's like...
It's like, nah.
Yeah, it's like, like social media consultants, like that kind of thing, and, make money online. Pay me $800 and I'll tell you how I make money online. Oh, I make money online, but exactly. You pay me $800.
That's right.
Whoa, that was a hard lesson learned. It's kind of like multi-level marketing at that point.
yeah, I know. So it was bad. So that's what I didn't like about
Right.
it. But there are local meetup type things. So
Yeah.
is this like a website? Like, is this idea kind of doomed
I don't
to
know.
failure almost? I don't know either, but I kind of get that inkling that it's
I think people should just sign up for it. I mean,
going to work.
there's no reason not to sign up for it, right? You don't have to respond to people, right? I think if you're
Right.
interested in that kind of thing, right? And I'd love to hear if people do sign up for it. It'd be interesting to hear back if they actually do get contacted, how quality it is, right? Because at the same time, you know,
Right.
like it could very easily be that you get 10 requests for ridiculous and some people are out there looking for like solutions to problems that don't need to be solved. Like
Yes.
usually anytime someone says that they have an energy generation idea for, I'm like, oh,
run. Oh boy, yeah.
but there
and-
could be some genuine stuff out there. So
Yeah. And there's just the people with ideas who have no idea. So they want you to, they have the idea, but they have no idea how to actually do it.
Right.
They have no skills and no talent to actually do any part of it themselves.
Right.
And they just want you to, do everything. They want to find someone who just does everything for them.
Yeah.
They think that their big contribution is the idea.
Right.
I get these we talked about this
Right, we
before.
have.
I get these kind of emails all the time. Right? There's people, oh, look, I'm giving you the idea. That's my contribution. Here you go. You do all the rest and we'll make $1 billion. Blow it out your ass.
yeah.
Ideas are worthless.
Well, I think people probably. I'm sure our audience gets that too. And if they get that, and you say, all right, well, here's my hourly rate, and I want nothing of the profits. I just want you to pay my hourly rate. And it's like, okay, if you can't do that,
And then it just becomes a contracting site, so it's defeated the whole purpose.
no,
of,
but that's usually people clam up at that point. It's just like, oh well,
Right, yeah,
we
yeah.
were going to give
Oh,
equity.
I've got to spend money, do
Yeah,
I? I
we-
thought you'd do it for free.
We give you
20%.
20% equity, and we would get the 80%. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't think that's going to work very well.
But you never know.
Are lithium batteries inherently dangerous?
Yes.
Asks F. Kitch.
Are scissors inherently dangerous? I mean, yes, they are.
And of course, everyone knows what we're talking about. We're talking about the Boeing
Yes.
787 Dreamliner.
Yeah. Now,
Right.
I haven't
And
been
there's
following this
much-
story very well, personally. I mean, other than I know that
Right.
they got grounded.
I followed a bit of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
You sir
use
are grounded.
a battery, which came from my old company, Tally's.
Oh, really?
Apparently, Tally's made. Yeah, they're the ones who made the whole battery. Like, it's not just a battery, right? It's like all these battery cells in a huge battery management box, right? A big steel box with all the battery
Yeah.
management and protection circuitry and all that.
Yeah.
And apparently, it didn't manage or protect it very well because the thing blew up and caught on fire and completely melted.
Yeah.
Which is something you don't want when you're flying 30,000 feet up in a steel tube at 800 kilometers an hour, right? You
Right.
don't want to fire on that
No.
inside that steel tube. It's not good.
Especially when you want that air just as much as that fire wants the air. That's
Right,
bad.
yeah.
That's bad.
Oh, boy. Yes, and apparently it's the second time it's happened, like in as many months or something.
Yeah.
So, like, one of them didn't happen in the air; it happened on the ground, on the tarmac, and they just, everyone just shuffled off the plane, and everything was right. But the other one happened in the air. They started smelling something in the cockpit. What's that?
Right.
Imagine, is there anything worse than the captain accidentally leaving his
Microphone.
intercom switch on and going, "Hey, what's
think
that? Can you smell
something's
something?"
Ask that flight attendant if they
Oh,
left
boy.
the coffee on again. It smells like crap in here. It's either someone's burning
Anyway,
coffee
so this thing-
or the batteries are about to explode.
Right. So this thing completely melted down. You can see the photos. Absolutely, phenomenal.
Yeah.
This thing, how the fire was contained in this steel case. Anyway, so there's much talk about what the fault is, and the battery management protection didn't do its job. Right, it didn't protect these batteries and shut them down. But they don't know whether it's a system level thing, right? Because apparently the battery wasn't able to shut off its own current. So because that wasn't in the design spec for that battery module, the plane was supposed to have that elsewhere in the system, right? And so it's all becomes a big complex systems engineering thing, right? And which system was supposed to automatically shut down the battery when there's a fault? Oh, I don't know. Throw your hands up in the air and, it's not my fault. I just made the battery.
I cannot possibly. So I work on systems, right? And we all work on systems in some scale, right?
Yep.
But, there's just so many things, even on small devices, just so many things and so many interactions to think of. I cannot even fathom. And that's all within one company, right?
Plane. Yeah.
I can't even fathom working in an aerospace company where there's tons of regulations and just so many subcontractors and everything else. Like, I'm not saying that this should have happened, but, oh, man, I can sure as hell imagine how it happened, Like it's just...
Yeah, I know.
It's just so big.
I don't know how these things get designed in the first place. They're so big, so complex. In fact, somebody, I think, posted, maybe in the EV blog forum thread or something, I'll have to find it, somebody posted the power system block diagram of the Boeing 787.
Really?
They actually found it, and you see how many subsystems are involved and all interconnected.
Yeah.
And that's only like top level, top level block diagram.
Yeah.
And it's like, oof. Anyway, so it comes down to, right, what was at fault? Did the actual cell have an internal failure? Because there's always been, nobody knows whether it's an urban myth or whether it's true or, maybe it is. But like lithium-ion batteries can inherently get little micro failures in them, which then can short out, and the battery can actually fail internally. Right, with no physical abuse, no overcurrent abuse, all that sort of stuff.
Right,
they can actually just inherently fail internally due to, physics. Right, the physics of how these things are manufactured. They're so fine tolerance and all that sort of jazz.
Right, but at the same time, it's probably it's probably not that, right? I mean, it's probably something system fault, human error, that kind of thing. Like honestly, like small sometimes errors like that, they have to cascade in order to make big, boomy, explodey, smoky errors.
But the problem with lithium batteries is they're exothermic. Right. So they get into thermal runaway. Right? Thermal runaway. So they, so once you have something that starts it might be a little internal short inside the battery. Bingo, you get exothermic reaction, and you can't stop it.
I honestly don't know much about lithium-ion batteries.
Well, I do know that much, that they're exothermic, right? So, which is bad.
That is bad.
And they've been banned on planes up until now. But the Boeing, for the 787, they got a waiver to use them.
Oh man, that hurts even more.
Exactly. Who signed off on that one?
Yeah.
Right. So, yep.
How much power was it? I should have read about this more, huh?
Oh, these batteries are
big,
massive
right?
amount of power. I don't know the figure. Oh, yeah. They can, supply
65 amp hour
hundreds
batteries.
Of amps.
Whoa!
Right. They're individual cells, and then they have them in series parallel combinations.
That's one cell is 65 amp hour. 65 amp hours is more than a year, Dave.
Right.
Pause for effect. Yeah.
Anyway, they are, big, high-capacity batteries, right? And there's multiple units of these all powering, the subsystems and whatnot. But, it's, I don't know. My guess is that it has something to do with the fact that they're going through thermal and pressure cycling.
Yeah.
Every time the plane goes up and comes down, pressure, temperature, thermal and pressure, thermal, pressure, up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah.
And my guess is that's what did it in some respect. That had some aspect to it, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of stress. I mean, even just the forces that landing and getting jostled around, and I'm sure a lot of that stuff's designed for. But if it's a whole new system, you'd think, man, that's crazy.
How do you test it for that, right? You can't.
You go stick it on a 737.
Accelerated life test. Yeah, exactly. You go stick it on a 787 and see if it fails.
You put one of those. You put one in every seat, right? And you serve it little trays of dried up chicken. Throw peanuts at it, yeah. Give it watered down vodkas.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it's real. There's lots of info out there. There's lots of technical info now on this battery failure, and there's lots of people investigating. And it's really fascinating if you're into that sort of thing to follow it. So, we'll put the various links in there, and yeah,
Definitely.
it's good. But my money's on the cycling.
Yeah. We should take a break for our sponsor this week.
We do
Yeah.
have a sponsor.
Well, again, they came back.
Should we mention the giveaway?
Oh, yeah. So, first off, the sponsor is electronicsurplus.com. They were 2 weeks ago. They were our sponsor. But they are doing a giveaway. States only, unfortunately, because they're stateside. And they're
Yep, sorry.
sorry about that.
You
They're trying.
It just costs too much to ship these things, right?
Yeah.
It costs more than... Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's a cool little item. It's a 40 character 2-line display. It's a little bit older Hitachi model, but
But those 40 character wide ones are bloody useful.
yeah.
I really like the 40 character wide ones.
What do you? Have you put those in something
They're
before?
not common, like the 16 by 2s. I've used them in a few things before, but they're just really handy when they're completely wide.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to
And,
scroll as much, right?
yeah.
And you can get a bigger
Yeah.
block of text in
Yep.
there. So yeah.
Text on there, better than the standard 16 or 20 by 2 display.
Yeah.
And it uses the standard Hitachi chipset, of course. And if people don't know, the Hitachi chipset by default actually supports 40 character displays. That's why
cool.
when you talk to a Hitachi, that's when you talk to, even if you've got a 16 or 8 character by 2 display, the memory is always mapped in 40 character lines.
Oh.
So even a 16 by 2 display, you have to start at address, if you want to put the character on line 1, character position 1, okay, you do that. But if you want to put it on line 2, you've got to jump to address 40
Oh.
because it's the chipset handles up to 40 character displays.
Huh.
So 40 character wide. So even on your 16 by 2, your second line address is address 40, not address 7, not address 16 or 8. 16. Sorry. So there you go.
Well, that's cool.
A little known fact.
I did not.
But I'm sure everyone knew that.
I didn't know that. I hardly do anything with displays. I'm never talking to displays,
Okay.
so
Right.
that's cool.
All right. Yep.
So yeah, electronicsurplus.com. Thanks to them. You should check out their site. We talked about it 2 weeks ago, but they have a bunch of other, a lot of surplus gear, a lot of great stuff for mechanical, a lot of like switches and rotary dials, stuff like that, stepper motors. But yeah.
And what do you have to do to get it?
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Do you have to send them an email?
That's right. I should probably tell people that, huh? So if you go to theamphour.com/es, there will be a sign-up page there. It'll just be a Google form. They're the owner, Steve, he's told me he's an electronic hobbyist himself. He just wanted to give these away. He had extra stock of them, and he's not looking for addresses or emails or anything like that. So
right. So you're not being siphoned into the funnel.
right, exactly.
The sales funnel.
Right.
No.
So yeah, there's a limited amount, so it'll be first come first serve on the sign up, but hopefully everybody who wants one will get one in the States. So thanks to them,
Cool.
and if people can. You can also click through from the amphour.com/es. You can click through to their site, and then that actually lets them know. That actually helps support the show because we track clicks on who goes through to their site. So we appreciate everybody who does that. It's very, very helpful for the show.
We do. Thank you.
Yeah. Speaking of stepper motors, did you see my little Twitter video the other day?
I haven't seen the video yet.
Oh.
Sorry.
But
you got it working
I got
apparently.
yeah.
Did you do a little
I got
dance?
I
Did you do a little
was
victory
dancing
dance?
on camera even. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so
There
I
you
got
go.
all 3 stepper
And
motors
what
going.
did this thing do?
No, nothing.
What did it actually do?
It does nothing.
Oh, right.
I'm jogging stepper motors. Come on, man.
Right.
This is like I'm celebrating me turning Allen wrench screws. They're this is
Right,
this is
okay.
not this is advanced for mechanical idiots like me. It's not advanced for anyone else.
Right. Okay.
But
Yep.
from the system level, there's just so many steps. Not just steps, but just there's a lot of layers in it. To get to.
But I thought the reason that you bought this thing is that you just assemble it and it just work.
Yeah.
Like, you seem to be doing a lot of low-level dicking around.
I am, yeah. Well, I'm trying to
Why is that?
make sure it's precise, and eventually I got to the point. So like I was like leveling out like the gib and all these different things to try and get it really precise, and then eventually I'm like, this is stupid. I'm gonna mess it up. I'm gonna run the XY table into something,
Right.
and it's just gonna knock everything off anyway. So
Yeah, right.
I got it pretty good. I think it's probably within a couple thou tolerance, and now I'm just gonna
Awesome.
mess it up and get cut and stuff. So,
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean though.
Nice.
I'm taking forever. I'm nervous too. I'm a really nervous project person. I always get nervous when I'm gonna break stuff because I always strip out screws. I'm always really bad about that kind of stuff.
Right. Yep.
Yep. I don't know.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah. So it's been good though so far. If people want to see videos, they can go to chrisgamble.com. But they're kind of boring so far. I really want to cut stuff soon, so yeah.
I would love to promote my own videos, but they're boring. Good one, Chris.
Well, they are. You had a good video. I liked your video today. That looking at the old electronics.
See, I thought that one was boring because, like, I was supposed to take like 20 minutes to do that. It ended up being like a 50-minute video.
I skipped through it. Don't worry about me.
Right? Yeah, I'm sure most people did. Yeah. Yawn.
Yeah. I really want to get like old. I think I romanticize it a little too much, but I really like the idea of like old electronic ads, like the old advertising, written by ad men.
Yep.
And I really want to get one of those like really big blown up and like put them around the lab and stuff. And I haven't really seen them anywhere. People know where I can find those. I think that'd be really cool. But and I know I'm not going to do it myself.
The ads are some of the most fascinating stuff, and that's pretty much what I looked at.
Yeah.
I looked at the ads for multimeters and scopes and other test gear.
Yeah.
And, over 35 years.
Right.
And,
well, some of the projects you'd be like,
quite
wow,
fascinating.
we don't do that anymore. That is not a good idea anymore. Yeah.
And I found a really fascinating one. A bit of retro test gear.
Oh, really? Which one?
It's the it's the Hitoshi
that one.
3208. They're still around these days, right? They're still making. This was like, I think, the late 80s. This thing came out, and it's the Hitoshi 3208, and it's the CalQ High tester. So it's a CalQ tester. It's exactly what the name says. It's a combination calculator and multimeter, and I think it's the most pornographic thing ever.
It's weird
because I'm a multimeter nerd and I'm a calculator nerd.
Well,
right?
That's true. Yeah, I guess it kind of hits all the high points for you. Huh?
Yeah. It hits all the buttons. No pun intended.
So Hitoki's still around though? The company's still around?
Oh yeah. They still specialize in multimeters. They still sell analog and digital. They've moved into digital now. They used to be number one in Japan in terms of analog meters. And they were one of the world's leading.
They do like panel meters
meter
and stuff too, huh? This is like
I'm sure they do a lot more. Yeah. Huh. But no, they're still making multimeters.
That always amazes me when I find out of a company. I'm just like, really? Like sometimes it just amazes me that how much is out there that I've never heard of. Like you'd think because you hear about the big names, right? And but then something like this comes along. It's like, what? What are they? They make this stuff too. Okay, that's cool. It's like it just shows how broad the market can be. And
yeah. Well, I found an interesting ad that from Tektronix, right?
Yeah.
Tektronix in Australia, but they were distributing another company's product and another company's oscilloscope.
Oh, yeah,
I think it was Leader or somebody.
Yeah, I saw that part of the thing, yeah.
Yeah. Tektronix Australia were actually selling some other brand's company oscilloscope.
Yeah.
Go figure. Here's Tektronix, the leading oscilloscope manufacturer in the world at the time.
Yeah,
right?
but
by far.
But that could have been it could have been something where they were distributing because they're smaller in Australia, right?
They're the local distributor, and they call themselves Tektronix, but they're kind of sort of not.
Yeah, they're a licensee.
Really, they're kind of like an independent body. They're a licensee, and they're probably using the name or something like that.
Right.
So anyway, I just found that fascinating. So, yeah. I love those old ads. I want to go through and get a collection of all the Fluke ads and then all the Tektronix ads,
that'd be cool.
over time and stuff like that. Yeah, so I really want to devote some hours to.
See, now would you be willing to debind it? That would probably be the fastest way, right? Because if you rip the binding off all of it and you could scan them all in real fast by using one of those sheet scanners, if you don't want to.
Oh, yeah, well, but then it's got to be like an A3 sheet scanner. No, I've got a very fast scanner here, which can, scan and convert and automatically crop a page in 10 seconds,
It's all about your time, though. It's not about...
Oh, yeah, no, but, But the thing with these magazines is back in the old days, they used to have an advertiser's index, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to flick through every page. All you do is go to the advertiser's index, which was either at the front or the back, right? And you'd go, oh, fluke, there we go, boom, page 35, whoop, and bang.
Well, I think they still have that, actually. So, it's just... No one looks for it anymore.
No one bothers anymore, but
Well, I mean, I talked to people about that, or maybe it was even you. It was, they're talking about looking for the actual ads because it was exciting because you weren't exposed to it otherwise.
Yeah.
That was probably you. What am I saying? Who else do I talk to? I don't talk to anyone.
Exactly.
I talk to my dogs most of the time.
Right. Wife, don't talk to her.
She yells at me.
She yells at you, and you just go, "Yes, dear."
Yes, dear. Yes,
and that's pretty much the end of the conversation.
Quickly.
Yeah.
No, she's great. Come on. She let me buy a CNC machine. How awesome
I know.
That?
That's very cool. Yeah. Oh, boy. And, anyway, this combined multimeter calculator, it's totally impractical, right? So it ends up being a shit multimeter and probably a shit calculator, right? But, this was the era when they did that sort of stuff. They would combine, let's combine a fax machine, a PDA, and a cigarette lighter, and we'll combine it with, everything, right? They jam everything into the one product, and it ended up just being absolutely useless, right? Because it'd be shit at everything it tried to do. And they're still trying to do that sort of stuff today with phones. They want to put, little Pico projectors in phones. They want to put little Pico printers in there. They're shoving everything in there. But
it's like they're making stuff for CES instead of actual consumers, right? That's the idea.
Exactly. And in the end, the most practical item will always win out. Always.
Yeah. Or cost-effective, or whatever people actually need, right? That's
whatever. Yeah, exactly.
The best product for the job. Hopefully.
For the job, yes, exactly.
Hopefully.
And people don't want to compromise with, they don't want everything with the kitchen sink and everything else. It just doesn't work. Be it CAD tools, Altium, or just anything. It's it's the best product for the job.
Yeah. Well, it's like you were saying.
Speaking of which,
battery life on multimeters, right? You're saying that.
It's
the same kind of thing, right?
It's shit.
Sometimes people value that a lot.
They haven't improved.
Well, it's.
I don't know. I just think, why haven't they improved, right? Fluke, the original Fluke 27, right? It had 1,000 hours battery life from a 9-volt battery, right? That was 25 years ago or something. And since then, no other multimeter has touched that, right? They haven't got 1,000 hours. Why not? Because are they lazy? Are the designers lazy? Are they, what's going on?
Well, a lot of people have. It's part of the consolidation of the chip industry. I think you can get a lot cheaper of a chip. It's so like an off-the-shelf chip you can get for $2 versus an ASIC, which you can get for maybe $1. But no one wants to put that money up front anymore, right? So back in the day, you'd have companies that were shelling out, $500,000 NRE. Non-recurring engineering costs. So they'd shell at $500,000, but then they'd get dollar chips for the rest of the time. Well, until the fab shut down.
Well, yeah, of course.
But companies don't want to do that anymore. So I think that's part of the problem. You can actually optimize a lot in an ASIC. And when
but you don't have to go to an ASIC to get low power these days. I mean, everyone's using like an MSP4, even Fluke are using MSP430 processors in their meters.
Well,
right, the Fluke 87 uses an MSP430, right? Really,
I didn't know that.
Pretty darn low power.
That's pretty cool.
Processor, right? Yeah. They're using they are.
Well,
switched.
It depends though. I mean, so like MSP430 is low power. It is low power, but it also is low power because of sleep modes, right? So, I mean, is the 1,000 hour that you're quoting on the Fluke 27 is that when it's on, or is that just all told?
Yeah, that's that. No, that's when it's on. The operational life is 1,000 hours, right? And then, but like often they'll still stick with using 9-volt batteries, right? Instead of using, why don't
go
they
rechargeable.
Sort of somehow package the meter so that it uses C cells or AA's or a D cell
or lithium ion.
Like that, if it's a thick meter.
I hear those are reliable.
Those are
you can put them in a metal box.
Yeah,
and shake them.
I'm sure it'd be intrinsically safe, right? Yeah.
toss them up in the air and then drop them, and toss them up in the air and drop them. Yeah, well, and another thing with measurement's
I
tough
just
though.
thought that
Like
the most...
measurement is op amps. It's a lot of it's continuous current kind of stuff, right? And you trade off.
Oh yeah, but it's pissant current. Come on.
Not if you're doing precision. Well, maybe I don't know the specs on a Fluke 27.
Oh yeah, okay, but no precision.
If you're doing
right, no, the Fluke 27 it's only 0.1%, right? So it's not like you have to run a heated bloody
reference or anything.
Temperature reference or something, right? So
yeah, that's true. Because that would take a lot. I mean, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But op amps are nothing to trifle with, right? I mean, obviously, we just talked to a company last week that has low power op amps, but I don't think Fluke 27s are using those. And even those are limited. Like the touchstone part, I've looked at before. It's a cool little part, that TS1001. That wasn't that.
Yeah.
Jared, Jerome is the one who designed it, right? That's what they were saying. And it's really, really low power, but it's low input voltages, right? And so there are restrictions on this kind of thing.
But it's just, I'm sorry, it just hasn't advanced in 25 years, and it pisses me off.
Well, I think this is a good video series, Dave. You try and create a Fluke 27 that beats the battery life, right? You don't even have to run it for 1,000 hours. You could just get the current consumption.
Well, I can do it, right? I can take an existing multimeter that's got good battery life, like 500-600 hours, and I can replace the 9-volt battery with 4 AA's, and bang, I'm going to get 4 times, and I'm going to get my 2,000 hours or 3,000 hours, right? But they don't do that because they're lazy bastards.
Yeah, maybe.
Right?
It could be that people just don't care.
Design
at 1,000 hours, you just pull the battery. Who cares, right? I mean, do you have to get it recalibrated at that point?
I don't know.
I think you're just whining. You're whinging.
No.
Having a little whinge.
I'm sorry that I want good battery life out of a battery-powered product.
You and your requirements.
Fool.
You're a marketer's worst nightmare. Well,
anyway.
So this is an interesting. This kind of feeds into a question that my friend had for us this week. So where to draw the line on designs. So we were just talking about where to draw the line on that. That's really more where to draw the line on marketing,
battery life,
battery life, specs, all that kind of thing. But where do you draw the line on the actual design of a product, right? So here's the situation. So my friend is working at a company, and they outsource the entire design and manufacture of this subsystem. And when it comes back, he has to deal with it, right? And so what his question was is, how do you actually make that decision? Because the caveat to all that is everyone goes, oh, well, you just don't do it. But there are times when it makes sense to do that. So when do you decide when to do that kind of thing?
I have found often it works backwards. You have an end date when something needs to be done, and then you need to draw up the lines where you need to draw the line in the sand where, well, I have to do this by this date, so therefore this is the only method available to me. Bang, that's the line drawn in the sand.
It decides itself.
Ideally, if I had infinite time, infinite money, right, I would have drawn the line somewhere else.
Right.
Okay. But, so that's one way to look at it, I guess, is often things are, your hands are tied a lot. You can't just draw the line anywhere, in the best location possible.
Right. Yeah, because I think many engineers would say, I know personally, I would say, well, I want to do it all, right? And that is is sometimes a recipe for disaster, right? Especially if you don't have anything scaled up yet, if you don't have, other engineers to work with, if you don't have manufacturing in-house, if you don't even have manufacturing partners yet, there's a lot of crap there, right? I mean, I think we talk about manufacturing a lot and how hard it is, but it always seems like it's going to be easy at the beginning until you realize, holy crap, 8-week lead times are going to shoot me in the foot,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a tough question, and I think even more, I think the reality of it is, as engineers, we hardly ever have the choice, right? It's almost always left up to management or executive committee kind of stuff, and that has its own bit of silliness to it. But I was trying to tell him, he is interested in bringing it back in, which I think is good, at least on some aspects. At least if you have to support it long term, I think you should at least be able to shoot yourself in the foot. It's really tough to try and support someone else's design long term without having a hand in the process. and knowing why they make decisions. So at least being able to design it, if not, then turning it over to someone to actually do like design for manufacturing and then actually doing manufacturing. That's a better scenario, but
face it, us engineers are just Oompa Loompas.
sometimes it feels like that. I don't like it.
That's what Sheldon says. Oh, engineers, they're the Oompa Loompas of the science world.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Oh.
All we can do is dance around and wave our hands and and sing songs and produce things.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Well, sometimes you get to be creative with stuff, right? There was a really cool post this week. I'm not sure about the practicality of it, but a site called Boldport, they wrote a script called PCB Mod E, and I'm not sure what that stands for, but basically it's a script software where you put in placement information and you put in like a weird looking board outline file, and basically it outputs this absolutely gorgeous SVG of like your top level Gerber file for a PCB, and people can see what was actually output here. I mean, it turns it basically into art.
Right.
I'm not sure if people actually want that kind of thing.
So it's an artistic auto router placer, is it?
Yeah, exactly. It would be like if you had like a ton of board space. If you're going to hit the auto route button anyways, and the auto route's not even going to have any problem with it, and you really want it to look cool, this would be it. This is really cool. I mean, like, it's just a really cool piece of software. It's still fledgling, right? There's no DRC for anything, so it could.
I'm just shaking my head. Sorry.
If you're thinking about manufacturability, but if you want it to look cool,
I'm horrified.
Oh, come on! I think it's cool. This is what Oompa Loompas can do to get themselves going through the day,
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't do layout in an Inkscape editor anyways, but if you're going to do that kind of thing, or it could even just, you could use it as a generation tool, and then you could try and replicate it in layout if you wanted to. I don't know. It's...
Oh, no.
You don't see PCBs as art, Dave?
No. Do face palms work on radio?
Maybe.
How do you do a radio face palm?
Face mic. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, boy. No.
Okay. Well, Dave will not be using that, but people can go check it out. I think it's kind of interesting. Whatever.
Right.
I saw it on Twitter. I like it.
Next.
Okay. Well, we probably don't have time for too many more. We could talk about how the chip industry is shrinking. That's something new.
We could talk about how Intel ceasing to make motherboards.
No. This is what we got to talk about. So a previous guest on the show, Bunny Huang, and then Akiba from Freak Labs and the MIT Media Lab. So MIT's Media Lab is like a cross-platform kind of like development group of designers and stuff. They all toured around Shenzhen, and Akiba did this awesome. He's just been writing these awesome blog posts about all these different places they go to, and basically but Bunny and some company they're working with has set up all these they're not interviews, they're like site visits, they're tours for everything, and it is amazing. I have been enjoying the hell out of these things, and I really encourage people to go check these out. They let me see if I can find all these. Oh shoot, how do I get to it?
I can't even find the link.
Blog.
I have to look at this.
Yeah, it's really good. So here's some of the places they went to. They went to a contract manufacturing place, a connector manufacturing. That one was really interesting.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yep.
Next page. They went to Lotus Motors, which is a small DC motor factory, a fabric mall. Mm-hmm. They went to a sanitary napkin and diaper manufacturing facility, which is like, whoa.
Oh, yeah.
a lot of different contract manufacturers, a bunch of plastic stuff. Excuse me. I've been getting into plastic stuff recently, like just kind of looking at that because of the mill and everything else. And I think that is so. If I had to do it over, I might get into plastics. I don't know if I actually would, because it's a really hard market to get into, and you spend a lot of time in China. But it is just seeing injection molding machines is so cool, and like the molds they use and everything.
So have they got video? Is it like, are these video tours, or are they just like photos?
No, it's photos, and then Akiba wrote everything up, and
right, okay,
really good stuff, but really good detail too. They went to Huawei, I think that's how you say it, Huawei, Huawei, who's been they make a lot of like networking equipment and stuff like that.
Yes. Oh, they're like second biggest in the world, like behind Cisco or something.
Yeah, exactly. They're really big. Chip on board, bare die assembly place or attachment places.
Nice.
Yeah. They went to Accelerator, speaker factories, like tons of really good stuff. I was just like looking at these and just like so jealous, just I want to go. Why am I not there? Oh well, maybe next time.
Yep.
But
sure.
Yeah, I mean, and they give a good example, like actually interacting with factory owners and stuff like that. And to be honest, what this feels like is what like a accelerator program goes through, right? They actually get interacting with a lot of factories, and I forget which one it was. I think it was the speaker factory one. It was just so striking, how big the market is there. Obviously, like it's that is a stupid statement to say, right? Everybody knows that it's a big market.
Of course.
But at the same time, you don't really, I don't think you, even reading this scale isn't there because, they're so specialized on like one type of speaker. Was it speakers? Maybe it was speakers. Whatever it was. It was so special. Oh no, it was the motor factory. It was so specialized that they would make you custom stuff immediately. Like on site, they would just wind you motors on site. So I don't know, that just kind of really hit me.
It's awesome.
And just the costs are plummeting. I mean, like it's even more. I don't know how much lower it can go, and I think it's going to hurt on the way back up. But for now, it's pretty great. Yeah.
Yes, all the exploited labor in China. It's great.
No, the exploiting is not good, but the ecosystem is just so cool. I mean, there's another thing I had on the list this week for it was a little quadcopter, right? And it really...
I've seen this.
You saw that one, right?
What is it, $50?
$50. It's a PCB, right? So it's nothing fancy.
Well, they haven't actually done it yet.
Oh, that's true.
Right?
Yeah, they say MSRP is
right.
$50. And they're talking about having a camera on there and everything else. So yeah, it does sound like it could be, kind of fluffy. But, like, when you look at the board, it's just two chips. And when you think about it like that, when you start pulling everything on chip like that, you have basically one huge sensor unit for all the IMU stuff, all the inertial measurement, and then all the processing, and then you just need motors, and you could put the drivers out with the motors, and at that point, damn.
Well, it's a classic example of when you engineer something for volume, right? They're engineering this for volume. That's how they're going to get the $49 price point, right? They're putting a lot of. It looks like they're putting a lot of effort. I don't know if it's custom silicon or something in there, or I don't know what it is, but it's
like we were talking about before,
not,
right?
But they're putting But they're putting a lot of effort to do everything in the one or these two main chips, right, and then that's it. And they're really trying to bang the cost down on this thing.
Yeah.
So. Yep.
Yeah, low cost is a very. I don't think I've ever really played it in a low cost. I've never really done that. So I really don't understand. I mean, I know I've seen the formulas before, and I get that.
Well, I've done it on some level, and it's it's basic math. If you're measuring, if you're making 1 million of something, and each, and if you can lower, the part by a cent or something like that, you've instantly saved. If you can save 1 cent off your BOM, you've instantly saved 10 grand. So it's worth you spending. How many hours of time trying to reduce your BOM by 1 cent?
Right, if a new chip comes out and you rip everything up.
$10,000 of your time.
Yeah, if you rip everything up because you're going to save $5, then of course you do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's worth you spending a week just trying to save 1 cent off a BOM. Right? And so, it's just the basic math of it.
Yeah.
And that's not even getting into all the high volume discount stuff. That's just, that's just your regular engineering BOM cost saving loop that most engineers will end up doing.
See, the thing that always strikes me is because I was talking about injection molding before, and that's what always gets me is, like you look at I look at like a vacuum cleaner, right? It's like an $80 vacuum cleaner that you might see at like Target or, some other store that you go to. And it's like, there is honestly, the most expensive thing in there is probably the copper windings inside the motor. And
exactly.
the plastic on it is that's what's crazy to me is like, you get injection molding plastic at like, million shot molds, like you're gonna pay like $1, like it's just like it seems so bulky for not much at all, and that's what always gets me about injection molding is just once you get past that mold cost, it's so incredibly cheap that it's unbelievable to me.
And I don't know why it's that cheap, because making plastics is not easy. They use petrochemicals, right? So it all comes back to, well, you've got to like go and search for oil, which is the industry I used to be in, right? You've got to go do that.
Well, yeah, but that's all. I mean, that's the thing. Like
$50 billion, and it's all got to, it's all got to scale together. It's all got to,
that's the
join
thing.
up
Scale.
together and
Well, there wouldn't be a plastics injury if you didn't have like a transportation industry, right?
Exactly.
Because there's no motivation for that volume. But yeah, that's still crazy.
I know, it all ties together, and you end up with your buying your farting novelty toy for 50 cents.
Yeah,
it's just
farting novelty toy. Yeah. I guess the interesting question will be if it will go up eventually. There's another article.
Well, it's got to. I think it's unsustainable.
Well, yeah. I mean, and there's a New York Times article about Mexico being the new China, and it's like, of course they're going to keep chasing new markets, right? I think the Mexico article is actually about bringing stuff back domestically closer to the U.S. with lower costs still, but they're always going to keep. They've already started this stuff, right? It's like China stuff's moving to Laos and Vietnam and everything else for textiles and stuff, but eventually they're going to run out, or they're going to loop back, right? It's like, oh, well, America's broke. Right. We'll go manufacture there again. It's like,
right, yeah.
We're going to Greenland and import people as well as materials. Sorry to all our Greenland listeners if they exist. I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't know.
That'd be interesting to know.
What if we have any?
Are you from Greenland?
We have a listener from so you can see it from our Libsyn. We actually distribute the show, and I could see where people are coming from. There's some interesting ones. I mean, there's like I think there's one in Afghanistan. There's a couple in Iraq, and I think some of those might actually be service people that were overseas for the U.S. at least. But
right, okay.
Other countries that I've just I think Mongolia is on there. It's just like what. So hello to everyone on the far. If you are from a weird place, not weird. Weird's the wrong word. I'm sorry I said weird. If you are from a remote location, we would love to hear from you. I think that is so cool that there's people really far out. I know I shouldn't be.
Did I mention this the other week on the show that I got an email from the head of the electrical engineering department at a university in Baghdad?
Really? That's cool.
Yeah.
Free trip.
I know.
No? Are they going to send you out there?
I'm sure I'm big in Baghdad, right? Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
I'd be mobbed if I turned up.
Yeah. Everybody wearing your I only give negative feedback t-shirt.
Feedback t-shirt, yeah.
That's great, man. That's really cool. I mean, yeah, it's really cool. And
they love my anti-American rhetoric.
Oh, there you go.
Right.
But to everyone who is listening in remote locations, I think that's really cool you guys listen. And we really appreciate
awesome.
it. It's really cool. We'd love to hear from you. We should probably get going for now, though.
We should. We're way over.
Yes.
Yep.
Next week, Mike Harrison of Mike's Electric Stuff will be on the show.
And unfortunately, I may not.
We're hoping Dave may, but he may not.
Yeah, we're not. Because I am. I'm.
You've got an on-site event
to be in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll be in Melbourne next week. Yes, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday next week. So that means probably no teardown video either. So no amp hour, no teardown. Yeah.
You better be making something good out there. We'll see. We'll see whatever it is. Suspense is killing
me. Boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you have any ideas of what I can blog in Melbourne, because I do have a free day there.
Oh, okay.
So I'm spending 2 days doing something else and then shooting a thing, and then I'll have a day free where I can blog something else. So if you have any ideas, let me know.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'd love to hear from you if you're from a remote region or otherwise. You can always reach us at theamphour@gmail.com. I think that's good. Yeah. All right, cool. well, we'll see you next week, or maybe not, Dave.
All right. See ya.
This episode of the Amp Hour was sponsored by electronicssurplus.com. Electronics Surplus not only has hard-to-find components to put into your next designs, they also buy old components. So whether you need to liquidate your inventory or need to restock those hard-to-find components, go to theamphour.com/ES.